World of Nabeeda is a channel focusing on personal and professional development, where we talk about how we can grow, glow, and live our best lives. Hi everyone, and welcome back to my YouTube channel, World of Nabeeda. In today's video, we're going to be talking about how to network when you join a new company. The tips I give will be kind of a mix of like remote ones, but also kind of like if you're there in person. So I want to mix it up because a lot of people now are kind of going back to work where they're going to be in a few days and at home in a few days. So I want to find the right balance between the two so you're able to make the most of your new job by being able to network both in person and virtually. So the first thing you should be doing when you're trying to network is actually just understand who's in the company and who sits where. So one of the first things that I did when I joined my company is I went onto our HR system. Every company has their own version of this, and went on the organizational chart to see kind of where everyone sits and who I should really be speaking to. This is a great way to understand the kind of conversations you can have with people, because when you're trying to network, of course you want to learn loads of stuff about other people and tell them about yourself, but you want to seem like someone who's engaged and interested, and by doing a little bit of like research beforehand, you can really show a person you're super interested. So my first tip is to go out there, try and see who sits where, and identify the people you want to start off by networking with. This is obviously something that you can do virtually. Well, this is something you definitely have to do on the computer, so this is really a virtual thing. But after that, I would recommend messaging those people, or in person, I would just like recommend going up to those people and being like, hey, let's like go for lunch together, or let's set up a coffee. Or if you're going to be virtual at all times, or if you would prefer to start and have that conversation like virtually first, just send them a message and set up a Zoom call, see how it goes, and then set up that next conversation face to face if you feel more comfortable that way. Doing this can help you kind of start and meet more and more people. The more people you know, the better it is for you, and you can start to kind of tap into opportunities that might become available. So it's really important you start to get to know kind of people in the company. But one of the things that I did was I literally just like messaged a bunch of different people in a bunch of different departments that were kind of relevant for me. So these are kind of people I would potentially end up speaking to maybe like a few months down the line, but I accelerated that process and actually started meeting them early on before I needed to speak to them about a task or a job. I wanted to just get to know them, because that way we built up a rapport, we built up a relationship. So when it does come to us having a conversation about work, or actually us working on a project together, that relationship is already there, so we're able to work a lot better together in comparison to kind of going in completely fresh a few months down the line when I need to work on a project with them. So this is one of the things I would always recommend doing. Number 3, the other thing you can be doing is I don't know about like your companies, but one of the things that happens is that I tend to get like a lot of emails around like things that are happening in the company, and especially in my first few months, I sign up to a lot of things in the company just to ensure that I'm getting my name out there, and I'm also like hyper involved in everything so I can get to know the people around the business. So this could be like social events, social outings, but this could also be other things that are happening in the company. So for example, my company is doing a mentoring program, so I'm part of that. There might be like book clubs or competitions or things they need people to help out with. Just like, yeah, put your name down, because that is a great way to meet people, but at the same time create impact. Because people remember people who create impact, positive impact, of course, but also actually negative impact, but you want to be creating positive impact. But definitely like try to find those opportunities. If they're not being emailed to you, they're not being called out to you, have a conversation with your manager and say, you know, this is something I'm interested in. I want to be able to, you know, work with a bunch of different people. Is there anything coming up? Are you aware of anything? Are you part of something that I should be taking part in? Because that then also shows proactivity to your manager, which I think is also quite key. And also like is very useful and makes you look good again. So who doesn't want to do that? I want to say number 4 at this point, but I think I've kind of just lost count. I'm gonna go with number 4. The other thing you can do is actually just go into the office, right? Because obviously like this is definitely not virtual because you have to go to the office, but definitely try to go into the office, even if you are someone who's working virtually, even if it's like 1 day a week, because that way you can meet people face to face, and you know that face to face connection is always just so different to a virtual one. So I do recommend going into the office kind of face to face, meeting people, seeing how things go, you know. And again, like those lunch conversations, like, oh, let's go for lunch or let's go for a coffee, just happen naturally, right? Because like I was in the office today and people were like, oh, I'm going to grab a coffee, do you want to get anything? And I'll be like, oh, okay, you know what, I'll just join you. Or I was going for lunch and someone was like, oh, are you going for lunch, can I join you? And I was like, yeah, sure, like why not? So conversations like that are so much like slicker and smoother and happen automatically, and you don't have to encourage them yourself. So do try to get into the office like one day a week and get your presence known. If you can go in more, definitely do that, especially when you first start off, and then you can create like a timetable of, you know, I go in one day a week on this particular day, but do try and go in more often at the start so you can get to know everyone, get to know kind of who's in, who's out, and all of those things, because that makes a massive difference. You're more likely to remember people you've met in person, had a conversation with, than you are to remember people you met on a Zoom call, especially nowadays when we are having so many more Zoom calls than we are kind of seeing people in person. So really try and get there in person. This also applies to your clients and customers, and not just kind of like your internal team, but if you are trying to build that internal rapport, then I would recommend getting in there as much as you can. And number 5, this is the last one, is take it easy on yourself, right? Because networking can be quite overwhelming, especially right now when we're going from a world of, you know, like limited contact, low contact, to now where we're being exposed to so many people. Networking doesn't have to happen all the time, and it doesn't always have to be you having to be in someone's face. Sometimes networking can be something as simple as, you know, you send someone a message, you had a little conversation on chat, or you help someone out, or you met someone through, like, for example, my organization has this thing where like random people get set up with random people every 2 weeks, and you can just chat to them on Zoom, or you can just chat to them with, like through the chat function. So really try and do simple things like that as well. Don't overwhelm yourself, because the reality is, and the key focus should always be kind of your mental health, yourself. So if you are feeling like, oh my God, I'm just spending too much time with people, it's okay to take a break, and it's okay to feel that way. Just take that time out and then go back in there again, because you would rather spend time, like quality time, with less people than just really stressed out, really kind of diluted time with loads of people. Because if you want to create that impact that I was talking about earlier, you need to be spending quality time. So think about impact and quality, and then do some of these things. So I'm someone who signs up to a lot of things, but when I am signing up to them, I really ensure that I'm able to give quality of time and quality of presence, rather than just being like signed up to like 3 Zoom calls at once and then I'm not really engaged with any of them, because I think that's not fair on the different things I'm signing up to, but it's also not fair on myself. So really consider those things. You want to be involved, but you want to be involved with the right things, and also getting the right things out of it and giving the right things yourself as well. I hope this video was useful. Networking is something I'm really interested in. I do it all the time. I think a lot of people don't see networking as really important, especially once they've got a job. But I think you should be networking at all points in your career, even if you're in a job that you're very, very happy with. Because, you know, if you do want to take that next step up, if you do want to get ahead, sometimes networking, the people you've spoken to, can make a difference. So really do consider that. So I hope this video was useful. If you do have any questions, please do let me know. I'm always happy to help out as and where I can. Please like, comment and subscribe. Please do subscribe, because I do post a new video every Thursday pretty consistently. And yeah, I look forward to seeing you in another video very soon. Bye!